Hello everyone, this is Cookies, and I've got turn 95 of Asphodel, and it looks like our special operation might have been a little bit too late, um, because all of our shit has been dispelled, and that includes Utter Dark, that includes Enchanted Forests. I was hoping this stuff would stay up a little bit longer, but what they did was they also did Arcane Analysis, and then chatting with one of the players, it looks like Nidavellir did magic power up to probably Astral 8. And then added, oh, what was it? Probably like a Ring of Sorcery and a Crystal Coin. And then did the Dispel. And that Dispel would have pretty significant overcast, or honestly, even 900 pearls might have done it, because I only had a 900 death overcast. And so just like the extra levels on the Pretender would add extra overcast. And probably, because I think Disruption is Astral 6, so might have gotten like 20 pearls out of that. And the spell is just cheaper, so you get 40 pearls from that, and that would be enough to Dispel, which is pretty sad for me. I'm not sure. It might have had to have been a little bit over 900. Or maybe just got nice rolls. I don't know. But the fact of the matter is that all this stuff has been dispelled, and a global slot has been created, and a bunch of horror marks have been thrown out. And it's daylight again, so everyone's got income. So we're going to have to try and move quickly here. That said, we do have a battle. So here's our magic phase Tart, going after the Phoenix Pyre Golem. As a reminder, we chose a Star of Darkness and an Axe of Hate. Could have done 2 Axes of Hate, but then we would have a Poison Malice. I didn't quite want that. Star of Darkness is just a lesser effect of the Axe of Hate. So it's about 30 fatigue per set of hits, assuming both hit, rather than 40 fatigue. And then the other piece of this is we have 10 chakras. Now, Iron Skin, doing Iron Skin does allow the Scutata Volturnus, because it does a lot more than 10 shock damage, to stun us. So that is kind of annoying. So you can see here, we're just getting the crap stunned out of us. But every now and again we get some hits, and now the golem's fatigued out. Alright. And there it goes. So we took a little bit of damage there. But yeah, so that's one of the 2 golems that we've seen go down, which is great news. Another big part of this Astral Disruption is because of how powerful it was. It dispelled Purgatory, so we'll be able to start attacking Naba again. Actually, we can attack everyone, just about, except Nidavellir, because our nap is still counting down. I think it got ended last turn. So we'll just have to see who puts up Purgatory next. We're probably going to run phase first into it again. But we've got Ojo de Halcon, the Pretender of Kalem. So, and this guy can, so he's stacked up the MR, and that's to prevent from getting fatigued out. I think he's probably wanting to Phoenix Pyre and do, oh, what is it? Firestorm? Just based on the fire gems. A bunch of death gems would also be scary because that would be undead mastery. But this is looking more like a firestorm play. And here we see it, firestorm. That said, it's a tremendous amount of spellcasting encumbrance because it's cold outside, all the melee encumbrance from all the armor. So this is, I think Firestorm, you're supposed to be Fire 5, so this will probably, or is it Fire 4? It might be Fire 4. So it might be like 150 fatigue, and maybe he gets a discount on the fatigue. We'll see when it goes up. We do put up Divine Blessing, and we get Frostflesh Army off first. And then Firestorm goes up. And he's at 119 fatigue, so he's fatigued out, which means it's going to take him a minute before he maybe gets through the rest of his buff cycle. But at least we've got some fire res on all of our stuff. Now there's going to be rolls that go over. But one of the advantages is with our Bless, that puts us at fire resist 10. Which should be, generally speaking, I mean, you'll take the odd hit, but it should be enough. And so he's just now waking up, but we've got a bunch of magic bows in range. And they're actually punching through his protection pretty well. And I think part of that nope, it's just 12 damage bows. I think they're acting as critical hits because he's so fatigued out. It's kind of hard to read his log though. Oh, it's the unholy weapons effect. That's my bless kicking in again. So, although it is, oh, it's both. We got an armor defeating hit for 2 points, and then we have unholy weapons for 2 points. And then we've got unholy weapons for 3. This one was a pretty big one. This is armor defeating hit. And so between now, 15 armor piercing will absolutely do chip damage to this. He does have 10% regen, but adding in a bunch of crits also doesn't help. So I don't know if it was possible, but if he could have had like a few blood slaves to do maybe reinvigoration when he woke up and maybe had a small screen of stuff, but then you have to worry about HP routing. Now the sleep vines are going to do virtually nothing to this guy because he's at 35 MR. But he's going to have a lot of vine shield effects because the entanglement is just on hit. It's not anything crazy. There's no MR roll. So he's down to 45. Now, this carrion giant is absolutely helping out a bit because what the sleep vines are good for is harassment. So his defense is probably 0. So this 21 damage claw is hitting. And he doesn't have fire shield up yet. So, you know, did give him the... So he's got the... Is it Sword of Injustice? But if he could have floated maybe a charcoal shield and a lead shield, maybe that would have worked for providing the fire shield. Because he hasn't been able to get through his script here. And all this stuff would burn up on Fire Shield. And so we are eventually able to kill him. And our Carrion Giant, it looks like it survives. So we knock out the Pretender. We do lose a couple of Carrion Commanders. We lose some other stuff. Mostly probably just stuff burning up. And we gain a couple of Carrion Giants. I'm not entirely sure how we gained them. Oh, I think what happened was we shot our own Draconians and put a Carrion Seed on them, and then they turned into Carrion Giants. Okay. In Zux, let's see, we've got a Thug. Pretty cool Thug. Very high stats. 25 attack, 25 damage Flesh Eater, 20 defense. He's moving in to retake something from Enchanted Forests. He also moves in on this group of knights. Maybe we can see what he's casting, since our nap is counting down. So this is an army built less around upkeep. These guys do cost upkeep, but you know, the Fire Stanks don't, Nidbeth Heads don't desert because they're sacred. Lamias have no upkeep, Kidnits have no upkeep. So it's a very upkeep efficient army for the late game. And, you know, reasonably high quality. I mean, Awe isn't going to do a heck of a lot against Asphodel. But, you know, they've got okay stats, they've got okay protection. Lamias, I think, would probably struggle against Asphodel as well. But, you know, it's another line of stuff. They can do claw attacks and kill things. You know, they've got 2 attacks. The life drain is armor piercing. And then you've got Nidbeth Head, who have their great sword. They can kill so many mannequins. Because every time one of them fatigues out and dies, when it goes to the next Scar Soul, it resets the fatigue. So... then we've got a Banelord Thug running out ahead. He's got Ember, so he's got small area of frost and fire. So he eats a bit of the lance charge. Alright. So that's land of plenty. And then we storm Sinextra. There's not much of Calum left. So we've got our Carrion Furies and our Carrion Behemoths out in front as we try to get in there. And we're also trying to distract the backline with birds. We go ahead and put up Rigor Mortis. We throw up Howl as well. And Fell Vapors. And then what's really nice is all these garrison, or not the garrison birds, but the actual troop birds, because you don't keep garrison conversions. The ones that we convert to, the Calum birds convert to Carrion Ogres, so it's a great source of high quality chaff with pretty high MR. So, but yeah, that one goes pretty well. Our Hydromancer gets sniped out. We pick up most of the stuff. Frozen Hearts I don't think should be pick-upable. They should have the no pickup tag, because to pick it up you'd have to dig around in the Hydromancer's heart and then perform surgery and put it in yourself. That doesn't seem like battlefield loot to me. But we do knock out a whole crop of mages, and otherwise our attrition is pretty light. So, great. And then we've got Jelenia Gora. You know, we've got the bears out in front. Now in this fort, we've got this Unfrozen Lord with a Mace of Eruption, which is 8 AP fire damage over an AoE 1. And then we've got another little Mage Core back here. fewer sacreds in this group, and we didn't lead with them, so a little bit of a scripting mistake. We do go ahead and put up Rigor Mortis. We get bombarded with ice strikes. So the higher HP bearers are pretty good at soaking that up. Now, we're going to have to work our way through all of these unfrozen, but with Rigor back here, a lot of these mages should be passing out now. There is one here, the Unfrozen Mage. He is Earth 5, so he's kind of a pain to deal with. And every now and again, one of them will wake up and do an evocation. We lose a bunch of mannequins. We do have an advance and cast. Was it Carrion Lord? So he's going to try and help out. He's doing, I guess we've got some Wither Bones going as well. Oh, that's kind of weird. I guess we've got some solos kind of like... I don't even know where we got solos from, but they're kind of like glitching up there. But yeah, those ice strikes are just blowing out chunks of the army. So we take a lot more attrition here. This Carrion Fury does eventually make his way to the back line, knocks out a couple of mages. And yeah, we do eventually prevail, but we take a lot of attrition here. We lose almost 400, including most of the carrion bearers, carrion boars, carrion horses. We lose half the sacreds, but we didn't have very many to begin with. And then about half our mannequins. But yeah, we do end up taking out this unfrozen group and taking the fort. Yeah, and here's the Astral Disruption. Get a little bit of gold. We get attacked by all sorts of random indie crap. We survive the Great Bear. So the Centaur Hierophant did pretty well there. We lose some population, gain some gems, gain some pop, get attacked by some vine men, patrol out some scouts, patrol out a monster boar. Okay. So when it comes to Calum, we've taken a couple of forts this turn, which is great. We've taken the throne, so we're going to go ahead and claim the Throne of Secrets, which reveals magic score graphs, which will be nice. Also bumps our blood income up a little bit. And then we're also, let's see, what was the other one we took? I think it was Sinextra. Yeah, and so we've finished the border with Nidavellir. So the next piece of this is we need to try and storm Uric Balcor, and then we need to crack Moose Bowl and storm Calum, and then we're done. So we're going to attempt to storm Calum this turn. I believe I found an air mage to airmail some gems. Yeah, so we're doing carrier birds here to send in a couple more nature, so you can do foul vapors. And yeah, the hope is to consolidate this area a bit. We're going to restart our attacks on Nabah. So just a lot of raiding groups pressuring. We'll probably bounce in a couple of spots, but I anticipate we'll make some net progress. This guy needed to attend the funeral for the golem he just killed. So our get out of jail card is not working right now. We can't stealth away if it's attending a funeral. So instead, we're going to magic phase in. I think we're doing like Call of the Winds or something, just to like give some chaff. And then I want to arouse hunger. And then we're also going to send this army in the normal phase to go protect it. And then we're going to raid nearby retreat routes that we can get to. Also, we're going to start our assault on Shinyama. So we're going to attack the throne. Let's see, what are we doing here? Yeah, just a couple of thugs, keeping it pretty low magic. It's really hard for us to do high magic. We have a lot more troops than we have mages. So we have to keep things on a wide front to be effective. If we doom stack, enemies can fight us pretty easily, I think. So we're just kind of attacking everywhere. We're trying to put something in each group that kind of mixes things up or provides a challenge to a basic counter thug, whether it's a few sacreds or it's bigger mannequins like carrion behemoths. Yeah. Can't do it for every raid, but we're trying to do it for as many as possible. We're just trying to put pressure, lock down forts. I'm anticipating that one of these two is going to put up Purgatory again. Shinyama would be the biggest beneficiary. It probably has the most gems. So we'll have to see if they do that. And then, but otherwise, we're just going to keep trying to pressure and force things out of people, try to do what we can. Another thing we're doing is we're going to put up Dreams of the Awakening God. So it's the only global we're going to put up, but I think more Dominion control will really benefit us against a lot of hostile Dominion effects. I don't anticipate this staying up for long. I think it'll stay up next turn, because, well, next turn it'll go up, and then they'll cast Arcane Analysis. So then the following turn from that, it'll still be up. And I anticipate what they'll do is they'll overcast it. And hopefully it's not so much of an overcast that I can't do a big astral disruption myself and take down all their globals again. But I have to be careful when I time that, because I don't want to time that with offensives where maybe I wasn't anticipating. Maybe I like astral disrupt Purgatory here, and then it gets put up again down here and it kills a bunch of my stuff. There are some benefits with Purgatory just staying up on a single player, and then I attack elsewhere. The other thing is, I forget if this is the turn, but it might be, where I discover that flames from the sky can't target caves. So if we take a look here, yeah, this cannot be cast underwater and cannot target caves or underwater. And then Murdering Winter can only not target underwater, but it can target caves. But I've got Heat Dominion, so Murdering Winter is not super great against me in places where I have high dominion, and I have pretty high dominion down here in these caves. I've got a lot of temples. It's kind of hard for candles to decide to go into a cave. And so I'm going to go ahead and reroute all of my summoning efforts down here into these caves. And I think the only place I have to be careful of is the drip cave, because miasma can be cast in that, I think. And so I'm going to move everything to these different forts. I have another benefit of going down here is these cave exits go all over the damn place. including like Summerland straight into Abyssia's cave. And so I can send stuff all over the world very quickly if I start out down in that cave. In terms of like a wider spread, as opposed to before where it was, pretty convenient. I could generally get things up to end, I think, in 3 turns, but everywhere else was 1 or 2 turns. So, because it was all forest move. But yeah, we're going to relocate everything. It's going to affect our army graph probably. So as we take attrition, it's not getting replaced if we're relocating, but it'll be a lot safer, especially if more astral disruptions go up and they're knocking out all of our domes. If our production isn't affected, maybe it's just our research perk, but we're kind of mostly done with research. It's not as big of a concern. Although we're still picking up some stuff. We're working on Call Ancient Presence. We're working on Army of Rats. But it's not the be all end all. And so and we are putting back up a couple of domes. I don't know if this is a great idea, but we're going to do it. Mainly to protect the capital is the idea. Although it could make some sense to like relocate the Trinity down into the caves as well. Although I should be able to stealth hat move them down there if I decide to. But yeah, it's going to get harder and harder to prevent this area, especially with Nineveh entering the war. I anticipate we're going to get bombarded with flames from the sky. So, and I think this is also the first turn. So this is the official end of the nap with Shiniyama as well. So this is the first turn of hostilities, and they've started it off by helping dispel all of our stuff. So we're going to go ahead and get a move on and force some stuff out of them. I think there is a little bit higher commitment to some of these attacks. So we do have some sacreds, and we've got like carrion behemoths. But a lot of this stuff should be able to withstand Purgatory. There's other stuff that's a lot more vulnerable, like these little carrion wolves, they just die. But, that's a lot more expendable. But we'll lose a lot, but I don't think it'll be soul crushing, but it should force whatever's going to come out. Hopefully not Vengeful Waters, because I do have a little bit of a commander shortage, although as I lose tons and tons of mannequins, it's getting resolved a little bit, and the logistics are improving. Speaking of the army graph, here it is. So you can kind of see it leveling off a bit. All right, so I think that's most of this turn. So you can see some of the stuff we're making. Just mostly some boosters, it looks like. And then what we're casting, a few domes, some teleportation. We're going to go ahead and try and roll another tart. And cast Dreams of the Awakening. But otherwise, nothing too crazy. So I think that's it for this turn. I might call it for this episode and just do a 1-turn episode, because we did have a fair amount happen this turn. It's a lot of red arrows, and we'll see how those red arrows resolve next episode. So I'll see you guys next time. Have a good one. Bye.